let's switch over to a different weapon. Switch axe is pretty cool. So that meter, stop it. That meter builds up the more you use this mode. The other thing is there's a combo you can do with switch axe. And most people know how to do it. You just mash what would be B or circle. And this is an infinite loop as long as you have stamina. And that builds up your meter real fast. Let's say you're like, all right, what the hell is a switch axe about? So you can see up top that you have a meter. You have your elemental discharge meter, which is that middle meter that you built up in axe mode. You have this other meter under it, which is like your sword meter, right? So let's do the sword mode combo. There you go. Now I'm in sword mode. And you're like, what the hell is sword mode? Well, you're gonna see that as I'm in sword mode, I'm gonna start draining. I'm gonna start draining the middle meter, but I'm gonna start building up that extra meter that I've been building up, that I just got, right? That's your sword meter. My elemental meter is full. I can either do a combo to get into it, or I can just hit R2. And there you go, I'm in sword mode. There's no time limit to sword mode, there is no meter drain, but now you can see what I was trying to do earlier, which is I'm gonna try and build up sword mode. The double slash. And you'll see why I'm doing this. So now you see that it's glowing, right? By pressing circle and triangle at the same time, I can go into that, and now I mash triangle, and I go back into axe mode. Now there is a mechanic in this game for most weapons, so it's offset and power clashes. So the offset, you'll see what I'm gonna try and pull it off right now. I think this is 1, 2, 3. There you go. And now, heavy slam. Offsets will knock monsters off balance. There is a minor amount of, let's call it like a cooldown to this, where if you do, fucking cat, if you do this too often, what's going to happen is the monster will actually stop being knocked away. It'll just be like reduced damage, and there you go, problem solved. If you're wondering, all right, well, what happens when I don't have that meter all the way, right? Well, this is what happens. And then you can follow it up with this, and it gives you hyper armor. So elemental discharge finisher and unbridled slash. Whenever that middle meter is empty, get in switch axe, get in the axe mode, and then just build as much damage as you can. They both do a lot of damage. You have the ability to move around. You're not stuck. Like I've been standing still a lot, but that's just because my target is stationary. You do not need to stand still. And at any point, if you need to redirect, you can use focus mode to redirect. So let's say I'm over here, right? And I'm like, I need to redirect over here. My character will actually turn on a dime. Focus strike, what's that? Well, with switch axe, depending on what mode you're in, you'll get different focus strikes. And so, in sword mode, this is your finisher. And then it goes back into axe mode. Or the big thing with this weapon is that you are dealing a lot of damage, but you can actually maneuver to position yourself pretty easily. When you're in focus mode also, you do get hyper armor. And the difference in between what I'm about to show you, which is the mounting one, is you hold X and circle, and then you just mash triangle, and then you do this, right? Well, that consumes your sword gauge, usually. There it is. There it goes. There, it's gone. But if I just press it, you can still do a bunch of damage, and then you can still follow it up with the unbridled slash. Now, how much damage that does is based off of two things. One, or how full your meter is for both your elemental meter, which is the middle one, and how full your axe meter is. So you're gonna see me right now build up this nonsense again, right? I'm just doing this to show it off. All right. You see that the bottom part, it's filled. Great. So now let's start filling up the sword again. Usage of the sword will drain the elemental meter, which means that your elemental discharge will be less powerful. But using the axe and then swapping back to the sword means that this is going to be stronger because you're going to have more meter to work with. So that's Switch Axe in a nutshell. Oh, and I forgot, there is one more thing. You now can parry. Now it's not like a perfect parry, and it does come at the expense of that meter, which you will have to reload. So there is that to keep in mind. You can't just do this for free. And if you do it too early, you do this. And it's a very, very weak attack. So let's just go over here, show you what happens. I do that damage. And it consumes the sword part of this. There's absolutely no point in doing this. So for those who are wondering, what happens when I use all the elemental meter? It automatically switches to axe form, and then you go back into this. And it won't reload until you hit that little meter. You see that little tick? That means that you have access to the rest of it. You can also manually reload that, which is what I've been doing to kind of save time. But you want to try and avoid getting to that point where you're manually reloading. Because if you manually reload, that means you have to take time out of your fight to do this animation.